Hi all, Rick here, this time looking into a video of a non-Starfleet ship, and one of the largest and most powerful vessels encountered by the Federation. This is the ginormous Voth City Ship, so called because these were not only for transport, patrol or exploration, no, these ships were literally homes and bastions of the Voth Doctrine. Their entire society is built on a foundational pride in being the Delta Quadrant's oldest sentient inhabitants, which in their eyes entitles them to the territories they traverse. Now, this statement was proved false, with them being such an empire for only about 77,000 years, and on top of that, they originated from Earth as an evolutionary offshoot of hadrosaurs. Nevertheless, questioning their superiority, especially to warm-blooded lifeforms, or raising dissent to the idea that they were entitled to the Delta Quadrant, or even in fact originated beyond it, is considered heresy. Before we tackle the ship's distant origin, however, this video has been sponsored. Star Trek Fleet Command has sponsored this video, with their game available for mobile or desktop, and I've provided links to download if you'll want to give it a try. It places you as the commander of an independent faction, where you can join alliances, strategize to secure resources, and explore the unknown systems beyond the safer trading lanes. With a main scenario to follow, daily missions to complete, and continue upgrades to your starbase, there's plenty to immerse yourself in. There's also a 7-day login bonus that culminates in unlocking Captain Nero for a major damage boost. For new players, I advise joining an alliance that fits your playstyle, as the bonuses and assistance you can get are a boon early on. For returning players, there is the Strange New Worlds Flashpoint expansion, with new officers of Scotty who, what else, buffs repairs, to Chock and to Pring, as well as the new Strange New Worlds themed missions, avatars and resources. Additionally, use promo code KHARNRULES until the 31st to unlock the TOS Kirk for free. Thanks again to Star Trek Fleet Command for sponsoring, and don't forget to use the link or QR code to download the game. The galaxy needs a leader, will you answer the call? Their original homeworld to them is considered lost, but their doctrine teaches that they are so ancient a civilization that they simply outlived it as a society. Because of this, most of their people exist across numerous space stations of enormous scale, and on such vessels as the topic of today's video. The Citadel Class's role as a hub of civilization did mean that no two vessels were identical. Even though the structures were very similar, some featured additional spires and towers, while others may have had an altered layout after their centuries of service. So, when it comes to the creation of this vessel, the original concept art featured numerous spires and docking arms all over the ship, but it retained the overall shape. It did a lot to make it look like a literal city, with buildings clustered together. The designer was Rick Sternbach, who continually revised the design based on feedback, eventually smoothing it out until it resembled the final concept. The ship was over 11 kilometers in length. Each vessel housed around 100,000 crew and up to 1 million overall inhabitants. While each ship had a captain, as a city in of itself, the ships also contained governmental and church heads that made up the ministry. While the captain oversaw ship functions and course, the ministry itself was the admiralty and directed the overall missions and functions of the city ships. In order to facilitate travel to and from them, many smaller ships could be deployed from the Citadel to act independently from numerous docking hatches across the vessel. Voth transporter technology was so far in advance of Federation levels that they could beam long distances without any trouble. Additionally, the scale of transportation was not a problem for them, demonstrating that they can easily beam something as large and complex as an entire Intrepid-class starship around in no more time than it would take a regular transporter. Their sensor arrays lined the ship too, providing long-distance surveying that eclipsed most Starfleet facilities. The very centre of their ship was a massive hangar for storage of other vessels, but despite this hollow segment, it was still huge. In terms of armaments, the large reactors of the Voth ships powered very heavy-hitting weapons, and their millennia of study had allowed them to create destructive weaponry that even allowed them to withstand Borg advances. As far as records go, no Voth ship has succumbed to the Collective. They could emit a powerful dampening field effect that shut down main power on an unprepared vessel, a tactic they would use to isolate a target they wished to interrogate first. Their primary energy of choice is the anti-proton beams, the similar sort of energy that the Dominion used and known for piercing numerous shield types, and also found on the Doomsday Planet Killer. Additionally, they were armed with transphasic chronoton torpedoes, which phased through not only space but time in order to evade defences altogether. This is a level of phasing tech that is woven into their cloaking devices too, with phase cloaks being deployable on a ship-wide level, allowing for the ship to remove itself from detectable space-time. Their shield systems were as robust as you'd expect, with numerous effects blockable and the ability to strengthen areas of the shield to pretty much be impervious to all damage for a few seconds. The shield grid is discernible as these geometric patterns across the upper and lower hull. On top of this, the hull is made from 3 layers of armour. In terms of propulsion, the ship has incredible reactors at the rear and numerous points of warp field generation. There's a series of transfer conduits that run down the total length of the vessel, and on the flanks are the 2 primary warp field emitters, with 2 more at the front. At the very tip of the ship were the warp field sensors that recorded all deviations and necessary alterations to the warp profile, and they were a key part in maintaining transwarp factors for a long time. Of course, one of the most fascinating aspects of these ships is that they can achieve consistent and prolonged transwarp speeds. Not only do they travel easily at warp 9.9, but they can push beyond known Federation levels and into the realms of transwarp drive, all without the management of an extensive transwarp network like the Borg maintain. While the Borg can do this too, even they do not have such cavalier use of transwarp. While the Voth ships seem to simply use this over regular warp drive as a matter of course, almost entirely replacing their conventional warp drives. Exactly how they manage this is unclear, with several options to reach transwarp speeds. However, we can say it's not a form of proto-drive, slipstream, coaxial warp, or some generated corridor. The closest thing would be a successful and advanced version of the great experiment that the USS Excelsior was trying to do, which brought the vessel out of phase enough with space-time to allow physics to take a back seat to subspace jargon. The only real weaknesses this thing has is that it's not very manoeuvrable, and that even when under phased cloak, its arrival is preceded by a subspace wavefront that reveals a massive incoming ship. And I guess in a more esoteric sense, their arrogance. The Voth have yet to encounter a foe that they could not best, which may lead them to yield unexpected vulnerabilities and underestimate others. But in terms of sheer status, they remained pretty much uncontested. The Delta Quadrant really does house some insanely powerful civilizations, and even fallen ones. So why is the Ministry so present on these ships, and why have the Voth not settled on a homeworld of their choosing yet? Well, they have. Several colony worlds exist in fact, but the government maintains most of its presence on the numerous citadels because it needs to remain mobile. They traverse the Delta Quadrant, not only protecting their interests in these ships, but also enforcing Doctrine on Voth territories, on the hunt for heresy and acting as a very visible reminder of the power and stature of the Ministry. The unfailing lasting presence of the Voth and the power they bring. In many ways, the scale and oppressiveness of the Citadel ships is reflective of the Doctrine itself. The mere presence of one of these ships can shut down a less advanced vessel without even firing a shot, and leave you at the whim of their Inquisitors and Ministry's judgment. The crazy thing is, this is not even their largest vessel. That's the Fortress. But also for another day. Speaking of, that's where I'll leave this one. Thanks for watching the breakdown of the Voth City Ship, and thanks again for Star Trek Fleet Command for sponsoring this content. I've been Rick, and until the next one, goodbye.